Today's video is all about getting wood. So, there are the least efficient ways, and there are the most efficient ways. Least efficient ways, clicking on a sapling, grabbing it, getting one log, or picking them up off the ground. Like, sure, you know, if you only need a couple sticks, that's perfectly fine. Moving up, chopping wood. This is pretty inefficient as well, but at least we're getting multiple wood for 2 clicks. More efficient is chopping logs, but whenever it snaps like this, go ahead and move your point to where you're lined up and you're hitting 2 at the same time. Bam. And what this does, it makes... Okay, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to... Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. It makes you hit 2 logs for the price of 1 swing, and that's just double efficiency. All right. The next stage is you go ahead and you find yourself a nice little thorny vines location. So I just happen to be next to one here. I'm going to jump up here. Now we're getting into a little bit more cheaty, exploity stuff. So if I go ahead and smack this thorny vines in 2 clicks, I made 30 wood. So all I have to do is exit to main menu really quick, and this thorny vines will respawn. So it took me, I don't know, like 7 seconds or so to log out, log back in, and smack this thorny vines again. So that means for 2 hits, very minimal damage to my axe. Wow, the bloom in this game is unreal. This just nearly ruins the entire video. Sorry about that. Okay. So, like I was saying, 2 smacks, a very little damage on your axe, and we're getting 30 wood per relog. So this is actually quite efficient. This is, in my opinion, this is my go-to just because it's so simple, and I can just turn my brain off, smack a thorny vine, and watch YouTube videos while I'm doing it, and not really risk any danger, right? So let's talk about the last thing. Leroy Jenkins. Let's talk about the last method. We're just going to walk up to any old tree. This one will do because it's the closest. Stand next to it within smacking distance. Leave and come back. And what we will see is this tree gets a little bit confused on whether or not it just wants to be a single tree. So whenever we smack it, we should see something pretty interesting happen here. And boom. Like I said, that tree thought it was 3 trees. So you just rinse and repeat. Exit and come right back in. Now, I'm pretty certain that this only works on solo player, like if you're in a solo server by yourself. I don't know, I don't play in public servers or whatever. But it works for me. So this is a really, really good method, and this is the best method because of a couple reasons. So let me do this real quick. After 2 or 3 chops, I like to use Splinter because whenever there's a bunch of logs on, that's actually awesome. I love that. Happy little accident there. When there's a bunch of logs on the ground, the game gets a little weird, and instead of 3 trees, it wants to spawn as just 2. Maybe there's like a hidden limiter or something on how many entities can be in one specific little location. I'm unsure of like the finer details to this, but yeah. We're gonna come back in, and I'm gonna show you my actual full rotation. If you're like me, I do like to cook up my water. I don't like just having water. It's really heavy. I don't want a whole stack of 50 water in my inventory. It takes up too much weight. So what I do, because this tree thinks it's multiple trees, I'll go ahead and turn some of it into bones. And with bones, you can make a pretty nice little drink. I don't think I have any on me. I do not. These are fangs. Bones are red. They give it to where you take less stamina usage with your attacks, but it is refreshing thirst. So you can see only 1 tree dropped there. So we can sacrifice some wood to get some bones as well. So not only are we getting a ton of wood, but we're getting a bunch of bones too. We're all adults. So if you don't need bones, that's fine. Just skip that part. Don't worry about it. Just keep smacking the tree. And now, because we didn't use 1 to turn it into bones, hey, the tree thinks it's 4 trees again. So you can do this as many times as you want. One last thing that I want you to realize here with this method if you're a high enough in woodworking or wood cutting skill, whatever it's called, we're going to be getting a lot of bird nests. And now you're like, oh, whatever, just feathers, right? No, unironically, this method is also simultaneously the best way of getting something really important for builders, which is, boom, coarse animal fur. Now, you could either run around for half an hour trying to find a bunch of rats and get one coarse animal fur, usually per rat, or you could just chop down a whole bunch of wood, because you're going to need it for building anyway. Get these stupid feathers out of my inventory. And, you know, you get some bones for some drinks, you get some wood for building, and then now we also get coarse animal fur. The reason I make such a big deal over coarse animal fur is because every single lighting option in the game currently requires coarse animal fur. So if you're like me and you like to build in this game, you're going to need a lot of lighting. Lighting helps a ton. So this not only gets us just a bunch of wood really, really quickly, it gives us lighting for our builds and, you know, some cool upgraded drinks that don't weigh 50 weight and are really boring, and it takes like 5 or 6 to fill you up. This is a really, really cool method, in my opinion. This also works with other things in the game. The same exact method works with berries. So I'm going to get into that in the next video, and you can check that out right after this one. So we're just going to splinter some wood. I'm going to get a bunch saved up because I'm working on a huge mega base project soon, and I'm going to need about 7 full lumber storages full of wood. So all right, let's end this video with a little bit of a bonus tip. Now, the most efficient of efficiencies is right here. We're just gonna build a nice little cage around our tree. That way it can't just scatter and erupt into a tree explosion. So let's go ahead, stand next to our stump. By the way, if this happens to you, don't freak out. It doesn't mean that your tree's gone and you built this and all your hard work's gone. I've literally teleported to my other bases. I've logged out completely overnight. I just slept. I came back. This is the next day. And yeah, just stand next to the stump, exit just like you would normally. We're going to come right back in, and our tree is going to regrow. And we could turn one of the trees into bones. We could get bones. We're getting our bird's nest still. But the cool part is with this, they don't go flying everywhere. So we could just press splinter, and we're getting 3 trees per. And honestly, it might not even be a bad idea to just do it every single go, instead of letting them all pile up. So that was 66 wood in a matter of a few seconds. Yeah, hundreds, thousands of wood an hour, easily. Actually, matter of fact, by the time it took me to build this tower, I farmed this much wood just trying to get a couple of clips and testing it and, you know, all that, and getting some screenshots for the thumbnail, etc. So insanely, insanely efficient. Last thing I want to talk about. You probably don't know this already because it is pretty early into early access, and us in my Discord, we have a community Discord for this game. Feel free to stop by, hang out, ask questions, whatever you want. Just send us screenshots of your base, anything you want to do. We're decently active. I mean, it's still early, but whatever. Tangent aside, if you have sawmills pointed, so the actual blade is where the output comes out. So sawmills make planks out of wood, and it's a 2-to-1 ratio. But if you orient them in this direction and you put a lumber storage at the bottom, like, part, these will automatically feed the planks into this storage. So watch here, 17, 19, 21, 23. So yeah, it's just automated. I don't know if you knew that. And we've tried with all the other workstations and chests and storages, etc., and nothing else works this way in terms of automation. But this is cool that this exists in the game. This makes me pretty hopeful that they're going to do more similar things like this in the future. Maybe we get like an iron chest or something for our ingots later on. And just any sense of automation really excites me and makes me happy in a video game like this. Any survival crafting game with a lot of resource management. Anyways, build a cage around your trees, and yeah, it keeps them from just shooting all over the place, and it's just one more additional layer of efficiency to an already hyper efficient method of wood collecting. I hope this video helped. If it did, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And until next video, be safe and have a good night.